Men don't realize girls do this when cheating on them. No one wants to think about it, but sometimes people stray. And when girls cheat, there are often subtle psychological signs that men completely overlook. In this video, we're going to dive into the lesser-known behaviors girls exhibit when they're cheating, based on psychology. 1. She becomes overly affectionate. Picture this. She's suddenly showering you with affection. More hugs, sweet texts, and surprise gestures. At first, it feels amazing, like your relationship is going through a second honeymoon phase. But here's the twist. This sudden wave of affection might not be as innocent as it seems. Psychologists call this compensatory behavior. It's her way of covering up the guilt. By being extra loving, she's trying to convince both you and herself that everything is fine. It's like putting a fresh coat of paint over a cracked wall. You don't notice the damage right away, but it's there, hidden beneath the surface. 2. She picks fights over nothing. Out of nowhere, small disagreements turn into full-blown arguments. You forgot to take out the trash? Boom. An hour-long debate about your lack of responsibility. This isn't just about the trash. It's about her projecting her guilt onto you. Psychologists say this behavior is a form of cognitive dissonance. She feels guilty, but justifies her actions by convincing herself that you're the problem. These constant fights create emotional distance, making it easier for her to continue her affair without feeling as bad. 3. She's suddenly hyper-aware of her appearance. Remember when she used to lounge around in sweats on the weekends? Now she's dressing up more than usual, even for casual errands. New outfits, fresh makeup, maybe even a different perfume. While it's possible she just wants to feel good about herself, this change often signals that she's trying to impress someone new. Psychologists refer to this as mate-guarding reversal. Instead of focusing her appearance efforts on you, she's redirecting them elsewhere. 4. She becomes protective of her phone. This one's a classic but still flies under the radar. Suddenly, her phone is always face down. She guards it like it's a national secret, even taking it with her to the bathroom. Micro-cheating behaviors often start digitally. Flirty texts, secret social media interactions, or even dating apps. Her phone becomes the portal to her double life. When someone becomes unusually protective of their phone, it's a red flag that there's something they don't want you to see. 5. She uses vague language about her whereabouts. I was out with friends. Sounds innocent, right? But when you ask for more details, her answers become vague or overly rehearsed. She might even get defensive. Psychologists call this information control. By keeping things vague, she avoids lying outright while still hiding the truth. The less you know, the less likely you are to ask follow-up questions. It's a psychological tactic that gives her just enough cover to avoid suspicion. 6. She becomes emotionally distant. You notice she's pulling away. Less eye contact, shorter conversations, and a general sense of disconnection. Even when you're together, it feels like she's somewhere else. This emotional withdrawal often signals that her emotional energy is being invested elsewhere. Psychologists refer to this as emotional compartmentalization. She's mentally dividing her life, keeping her affair separate from her relationship with you. Unfortunately, this often leads to a growing chasm that's hard to bridge. 7. She overcompensates with gifts or surprises. Has she started buying you random gifts or planning elaborate date nights? While it might seem sweet, it could be another form of guilt compensation. Psychologists explain this as a form of moral licensing. Because she's doing something good for you, she feels justified in continuing her affair. It's a twisted way of balancing the emotional scales in her mind. 8. Her schedule becomes unpredictable. Suddenly, she's working late more often, picking up new hobbies, or hanging out with friends you've never heard of. While it's healthy for partners to have individual interests, drastic changes in her routine without clear explanations can be a major red flag. Psychologically, this behavior aligns with time compartmentalization. She needs to create space and time for her secret life, so her schedule becomes erratic. If you notice these changes happening frequently, it's worth paying attention. 9. She stops future planning. Remember when you used to talk about future vacations or even moving in together? Now she avoids those conversations or gives non-committal answers. This is a psychological sign of emotional detachment. She's no longer investing in the long-term vision of your relationship because, in her mind, she's already halfway out the door. Her reluctance to make plans is her subconscious telling you that she's uncertain about your future together. 10. She shows signs of guilt-driven kindness. Finally, there's the subtle but telling behavior of guilt-driven kindness. She may become overly attentive, always asking how your day was, cooking your favorite meals, or going out of her way to make you happy. This isn't just regular affection. It's a psychological response to her inner turmoil. She's trying to ease her own guilt by being overly kind, hoping it will somehow make up for her actions.